How many remember Ecko Unlimited? In the 90s and the early 2000s, Ecko cemented themselves in the culture as one of the ambassadors to the mainstream. Before streetwear was streetwear, brands like Ecko were giving us a glimpse of the future and which was to come. Ecko came along in a time before the industry even began to respect the street market as being viable. But the wave that they contributed in creating will go on to change the industry as we know it. Ecko rose to the ungodly heights, at one point cresting $1 billion in sales at their peak. But what happened? How did Ecko fall from the world-renowned pedestal in which they stood to the relative obscurity that they find themselves in today? Well, let's find out. I'm Nate the Great from TakeFlight214.com, and this is the rise and fall of Ecko Unlimited. Before we get started though, how about a shout out to our illustrious sponsor, us at TakeFlight214.com, but more on our abundant shop of art and apparel at the end of the video. For now, don't forget to smash that like button for us, and with that being said, let's jump right in. We can't talk about Ecko the brand without its namesake, Mark. Born August 29, 1972 in New Jersey, Mark Malachowski actually wasn't that cool as a kid. And to say that is putting it pretty lightly. You see, Mark was a self-proclaimed proverbial fat kid from the neighborhood who got perpetually bullied. Being more of a loner, Mark took up art. He began with sketches and doodles, but growing up in the golden era of New York's graffiti, he would later become influenced to take up that art form under the tagger name of Ecko. After high school, he enrolled in Rutgers University to study pharmacy, following in his father's footsteps. But in the back of his mind, he always wanted to apply his art to fashion. So, Mark decided that he'd give it a try in between his classes. And in 1993, while still in college, Mark Ecko founded Ecko Unlimited out of his parents' garage with the help of his sister Marcy. At first, he would spray paint his designs on the blank t-shirts and sell them to his friends and people around the neighborhood. This DIY approach allowed him to experiment with ideas and develop a unique style of his own. Soon he upgraded to screen printing his designs. And now mind you, this was 1993, so no internet to build your buzz with. Mark had to go about it the old school way. He sold his shirts out of the trunk of his car. Ecko Unlimited quickly gained attention for its bold and distinctive designs though, which combined elements of street art, hip-hop culture, and youth fashion. Mark's personal connection to graffiti culture and his passion for the artistic expression set his brand apart from legacy brands that had yet to catch up to the new wave that was rolling in from out at sea. Eventually, he found a few retailers that were willing to sell his shirts, but they were skeptical about this new brand offering this new trend, so they opted to give him a trial run on consignment. But all that would change quickly as Ecko shirts became hot sellers. Mark was elated to see his designs doing so well, but he knew that he had to ramp up his production if he was going to really be serious about this. So he and his sister linked up with another friend, Seth Gersberg, to found Mark Ecko Enterprises, the parent company of Ecko Unlimited. They catch their big break early by landing a feature spot on Good Morning America. This was at the time a fresh new idea, and no one ever really based the line off graffiti before, and the culture ate it up. But up until that time, Ecko didn't officially have a logo yet. While at a trade show in Vegas, he realized that he needed an easily identifiable image that would make Ecko Unlimited stand out. Mark got the idea of the rhino from small wooden statues that his dad used to collect. His intent was to use a logo similar to the Lacoste crocodile or the polo pony, but with a satiric twist. Mark stated, quote, "Rhinos are the only four-legged animals that don't walk backwards. Rhinos are survivors," end quote. And by 1998, they realized that they needed to branch out a bit more beyond just t-shirts if they wanted to really be taken seriously. So they included jeans and jackets. But this caused them to overextend themselves a bit, causing the first round of financial difficulties. Neither Mark, Seth, nor Marcy were really business people, and they weren't really familiar with the ropes of the industry. So although Ecko clothing was popular, Ecko Unlimited lost about $6 million over the first 6 years of its existence. And they were facing dark times. Both Mark and Seth wondered if they should just fold the brand or file for bankruptcy. They tried to make a deal with other more established companies, but no one really showed any interest. The only way they were able to skate by was because they managed to get a loan from one of their largest creditors in an attempt to revitalize the brand through better suppliers and building out an actual design team. That lifeline allowed them to float right into the biggest deal that they had up until that point. In 1999, Ecko landed a licensing deal with the NFL to create a sportswear line targeted at bringing a youthful appeal to their apparel. This will boost Ecko back into the green, and a few years later in 2002, Mark decided that he wanted to launch a print publication documenting the culture, a new project that he would call Complex. This was the heyday of print media after all. The internet was around, but it was nowhere near where it is today, and Complex took full advantage of this, with circulation of about 325,000 in 3 years. After staking claim in the fashion and print industry, Mark decided to branch out into the video game industry next. And in conjunction with Atari, they released Mark Ecko's Getting Up, Contents Under Pressure. I never really played the game back in the day, but I do remember seeing it around at GameStop. So hit me in the comment section if you played it and let me know if it was fun or not. By 2004, Ecko Unlimited was bringing in $500 million in sales. The early 2000s saw Ecko transcend the realm of mere clothing brand and onto the level of an institution. They launched Ecko Red, a women's line. They got into more accessories and fragrances. They bought Zoo York and launched Complex Media. But as bright as the sun had been shining on Ecko, by 2005, things were about to get a lot darker. Now, if you're a fan of the channel, then you already know the running theme for the fall of many of the older brands is changing trends and newer clothing lines muscling them out of their spots. However, in Ecko's case, an entity as large as they were bound to suffer a harder and more intricate fall. Remember all of that rapid expansion and licensing agreements? Well, it led to overexposure in the market. In fact, Ecko was probably one of the first street brands to find out that spreading it wide and thin is not the best idea for long-lasting appreciation. At this point, the three founders were just looking to get out with a little bit of profit. Tommy Hilfiger originally expressed interest and negotiations began. But all of the financial turmoil didn't stop them from spending money though. They paid $8 million to buy out Casual Male from the outlet partnership. They signed a multi-million-dollar lease for a 275,000 square foot headquarters on 23rd Street and for flagship retail in Times Square. All the real estate mixed with the overall downward trajectory of the brand caused Hilfiger to pull out of the deal, and the writing was on the wall. Things looked pretty grim for the House of the Rhino. They limped along for a few more years, but finally in 2009, Mark and his partners were forced to sell 51% of Ecko Unlimited to Iconic's brand group, who by then already owned Rocawear, Massimo, and Joe Boxer. And by 2013, Iconics had acquired full ownership of the brand. Mark also sold 49% of Complex Media, of which had increasingly became a digital-only platform as print media had long began to die, to Hearst Corporation. When it's all said and done, for as corny as Ecko got in the end, and they did get very corny. I mean, you could find Ecko stuff in any young men's section in any mall all over America. It seemed like they stopped caring about the appeal years before the fall. Most of the better looking Ecko designs came out like pre-2000. But For as cheese whiz as they got in the end, Ecko deserves respect for the groundwork that they laid in a time where the subsection of fashion was getting absolutely no attention outside of the niche. They claim to be the first streetwear brand, and I would dispute that. But they definitely were among the first. And for that, they'll forever be legendary in my eyes. But what do you think? Were you a fan of Ecko Unlimited back in the day? Hit us up in the comment section and let us know. Also, we're a really small channel and I love doing these videos, but it takes money to grow. And I don't really want to be like the other YouTubers asking for money for nothing, you know what I'm saying? Some may not know that TakeFlight214.com started as an art and apparel shop long before we launched the YouTube channel. We offer posters, wall art, t-shirts, and tons of other items. Hundreds of designs to choose from and years of excellent customer service. So stop by and hopefully you'll find something that you like. And if not, we also do custom orders. If you made it all the way through the video, we hope you already smashed the like button for us because that also helps us out with the YouTube algorithms. And if you want to be updated whenever we drop a new episode, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and then the notification bell to be dinged when each new episode drops. With that being said, I'm Nate the Great from TakeFlight214.com signing out. Until next time, peace.